Hello students, so welcome to my next online class. So this is a continuation video for the previous chapter, that is pressure in fluid. So if you remember, in my previous class I have taught few topics here, and in this video I am going to revise those topics and will be teaching a few more new topics, right? So this PDF file I will be giving you in your WhatsApp. So you need to write the notes in your exercise book as well as the exercise questions. Now in the exercise questions you will be facing a few problems regarding this numericals and all. So numerical questions I will just help you in my next video, but till then all the theoretical portion you have to write in your exercise book. Okay, so without wasting any time, so let's start today's class. So pressure in fluid. So fluids are those substances which has an ability to flow or which can flow. Now when we say we are applying pressure, that means pressure is defined as thrust per unit area, where thrust means force, right? So when I say pressure here, pressure equals to thrust. Now thrust and force is same, so what will be its SI unit? So SI unit is Newton per meter square. Okay, or it can be also written as Nm to the power minus 2, right? So Newton per meter square. Now this pressure Newton per meter square is also written as Pascal, that is Pa, right? So it is also a SI unit. So thrust acting per unit area on a surface is called pressure. So CGS unit is 9 per centimeter square and SI unit is Newton per meter square or Pascal. So next we have manometer. You see the diagram in your screen. So you can open your book in front of you, page number 70. So in manometer you see there are two limbs. Now in one limb is being kept in a gas, and one limb, that is one arm, is kept open. So first question comes, why we use manometer? So manometer is used in order to measure the pressure of a gas enclosed in a vessel. You see in this paragraph, if you see, it is written why manometer is used. So in order to measure the pressure of a gas enclosed in a vessel, one arm of manometer is connected to the vessel and other arm is kept open to the atmosphere, right? Now what happens when the gas applies pressure here, this mercury level lowers down. So when this mercury layer falls down, this will increase the mercury level in the other end. So by measuring the height of increase of mercury, we can determine the pressure exerted by the gas from this side, right? So that is why we can use this manometer for measuring the pressure exerted by a gas enclosed in a closed vessel. So pressure of a gas is equals to pressure of atmosphere plus pressure due to liquid column of height. That means how much pressure that open end, that atmosphere is exerting, as well as how much height that due to pressure of the gas the mercury has raised up. So this is calculated as Pa plus H rho g, right? So total pressure equals to Pa plus H rho g, where rho is the density of the liquid and H is the difference in level of mercury level. So this H was the height. Okay, next we have depth and pressure. So how liquid pressure depends upon depth. So more the depth, more will be the pressure. Okay, so in a sea, if I consider this is a sea, so more you go in the depth, so you will find the liquid pressure. So liquid pressure will be more, right? So how pressure and depth is related to each other? They are directly proportional to each other. Now as pressure increases with depth, so that can be easily understood by this diagram. You see there are three holes made on the same vessel, but the hole which is near to the bottom, that is base, you see that covers more distance, but here the holes which are up, they cover less distance. So reason behind it here, why it covers more distance at this case, because the water contained above that hole is maximum. So due to that weight of that water above that hole, that exerts a huge pressure, and due to this huge pressure it covers longer distance, right? Pressure exerted by liquid in a liquid column. Now, so if I consider this is one vessel, and here if I consider there is one cylindrical body is dipped inside the water, so how much pressure will this cylindrical body will experience? So it will exert a pressure of h rho g. Okay, so h, you can consider at what height it is being immersed. Rho is the density and g is the acceleration due to gravity. So if you see the derivation here, so what is written in this paragraph? Consider a horizontal cylindrical body of depth of h below the surface of the liquid. That means if I consider this is the liquid level, so if I say this is the cylindrical body, so at a distance of h, so this height is h, right? So what is the mass of that body? Then mass equals to, we know density equals to mass by volume. So if I want to calculate mass, then it is density into volume, right? So here you see volume, when I say density, density is written as rho, but when I say volume, volume can be written as A into H, because unit of A is meter square and H is meter. So this is meter cube. So meter cube is a unit of volume. So AH is written as V, right? So you see in the derivation here what is written. Mass equals to volume into density. So in place of volume we wrote AH, that means AH rho. Again, thrust means here, when we calculate thrust means force, and force means MA, right? But here mass is M, but A is G, right? Acceleration due to gravity. So in place of mass we will be writing H rho G. Okay, so in place of here we will be writing H rho G. That means A H rho is M and G is acceleration due to gravity. Now we will substitute in this formula, that is pressure equals to thrust per unit area. In place of thrust we will put H rho G. That means H rho G by A and A will get cancelled, we will get H rho G. That means pressure equals to exerted on that cylindrical body is H rho G. So pressure is same in all direction about a point in a liquid. That means this pressure is an scalar quantity, so don't have any definite direction. So as it don't have any definite direction, so it can exert in any way. Like you see, if you see the pressure exerted by a funnel here, so whatever may be the direction of the knob, so pressure exerted on the tube is same. Liquid pressure depends upon density. Yes, it depends upon density also. So more the density, more will be the liquid pressure, less the density, less is the liquid pressure. That means if I consider two balloon, one is containing petrol and one is containing mustard oil. So the bulging part of this mustard oil will be more than that of petrol, because mustard oil is more denser than that of petrol. So the pressure exerted by mustard oil will more than the pressure exerted by the petrol. So that means liquid pressure depends upon density. Liquid pressure depends upon depth. This already I have explained. So more the depth, more will be the liquid pressure. For this reason, the base of the dams are also made broad, okay, thick. Pressure is same at all in a horizontal plane in a liquid. if I consider one vessel, and here if I make the liquid level, now at the same level if I make 3 holes here, then the liquid emerging out from these 3 holes, the pressure will remain same. Okay, the pressure of liquid coming out from 3 holes will remain same. But whereas if I make 3 holes like this, that means pressure coming out from this hole will be more, this will be intermediate, and this will be very less. Just now we have seen, right? So pressure is same at all points in a same horizontal liquid. And pressure seeks its own level. So if you see the diagram here, whatever may be the shape of the tube, the liquid level is same here. At the same level, liquid have its level. That means liquid seeks its own level. Okay. Connection of pressure on, that is consequences of pressure on liquids. Now before going to this topic, you see, if it is asked what are the facts or what are the laws of liquid pressure, so you need to write this. Pressure is same at all direction in a point of liquid. Liquid pressure depends upon density. Liquid pressure depends upon depth. Now how it depends, you have to explain. Increase in depth increases the liquid pressure, increase in density increases the liquid pressure, like this 101, or just a briefly explanation is required after writing the law. So law number 4, law number 5, you see here, liquid seeks its own level. And what are the consequences of liquid pressure? Now due to few consequences, that was due to few result of liquid pressure, we follow in our daily life. Like in our home, we always keep the tank on our terrace or at a certain height, because the water which will come out from the tank will come with high pressure. Now but if we take this tank on the ground surface, if we place on the ground surface, then the liquid pressure will be less. So that is why water supply tanks are placed higher at the other level. Okay, so you see what is written here at this portion: water supply tanks are placed at higher level, right? So this portion it is written clearly. To supply water in a tank or a big tanks, generally in the 4 cylindrical shape, are built quite high. They are so high so that the pressure of the water becomes more, hence water can flow on the building locates higher level. So here it is saying that more will be the height of the tank, so more will be the liquid pressure. So that is why we place the tank on our terrace. Next, walls of a dam are thicker at the bottom. So if walls of the dam are not thicker, here you see, if it is not thicker, then easily dam can get collapse, because liquid pressure is more at maximum depth. Okay, so when I ask what are the effects or what are the consequences of liquid pressure, so you need to explain these topics. Water supply of tanks placed higher than other building in a town, then walls of dams are thicker at the bottom. So briefly you need to write, you to explain the topic briefly. Next we have driver's suit. So swimmers, they use a special suit, because to withstand the high pressure inside the liquid, they have to use a special suit. Okay, so that they won't face any suffocation. As you know that when you go in a deep water, due to high liquid pressure, you face suffocation, or it may disrupture your blood vessels and all. So they used to have a special suit, so to counter high pressure of water in great depth in the sea. You see the topic is written here, just the term is given here, sentence. So this question might come in give reason also, why the divers use a special suit. So you need to write answer from here, you just make your answer. Okay, so you can write from this line: Deep sea divers feel the increasing water pressure on their body while swimming deeper under the water. This may cause the bursting of some blood vessels, resulting in bleeding. A deep sea diver has to wear a suit to counter a high pressure of great depths in the sea. Right up to here, you can write from here to here. So next we will see the Pascal's law. So Pascal's law states that whenever a pressure is exerted in one end, it exerts equally pressure and it gets transmitted in all direction. That means if I have here, let us consider in one end I am applying pressure here, so it is an enclosed vessel, so same pressure will be transmitted and it will exert in the other end. So what is the use of this? When we apply a pressure in terminal A, when pressure we know F by A, that is F1 by A1, so same pressure gets transmitted in the other direction here and it produces a force F2 in the area cross sectional A2, right? So here what we have seen, a small pressure exerted in one end produces a large force on the other end. That means when you apply a small force here F1, it will produce a large force F2, because we know pressure is inversely proportional to area. So when you apply a pressure in one end with a small cross sectional area, that means you require less force, but same pressure when it is transmitted to other end, this pressure will produce a force which will be more. That means F2 definitely it is greater than F1. Okay, so if I ask what is Pascal's law, so according to Pascal's law, pressure exerted in an enclosed vessel gets transmitted equally in all direction. So what is the principle of hydraulic machine here? So principle of hydraulic machine states that when a small force is applied in small cross sectional area, it produces a large force in a large cross sectional area, provided pressure remains same on both the ends or both the terminals. Next we have hydraulic press. So this is also based upon Pascal's law. So this hydraulic press we use to squeeze the bale of cotton. Okay, the cotton is placed here. If you see cotton, this is the cotton. Now when you apply a pressure in one end, so here you are applying the pressure, so due to this pressure what happens, this piston goes up, and as this piston goes up, this frame gets squeezed with the cylinder A2, right? So you see, due to this piston, you can consider this as a piston. These are two piston, piston C and piston D. So when you are applying a force on piston C, so the piston D moves up and it squeezes the bale of cotton. So same way, when a small force is applied in one end, large force is produced in other end. That means F1 by A1 equals to F2 by A2. But when we cross multiply, we will get F2 equals to A2 into F1 into F1 by A1, right? So F2 equals to A2 F1 by A1. Okay, so how much force it is producing here? So it is A2 into F2 by A1. So next we have hydraulic jack. So this hydraulic jack we use in our home also for lifting the wheels of a tire. So hydraulic jack is also based upon principle of Pascal's law. So when a small force is exerted on one end, it produces a large force on the other end. This is the hydraulic brake. So you see, this is the paddle where the driver applies his foot to apply brake here. So when the paddle is being pushed, this paddle is connected with the piston, and this is the master cylinder. Okay, so when this piston gets moved in the left hand side in the master cylinder, So master cylinder contains a gear oil or the brake oil which flows to different parts of the wheel. So likewise here it is given one wheel here. So when the liquid pushes this piston again, so due to this piston, a brake shoe, this is a brake shoe, or you can say this is the rim and this is the brake shoe. So when the driver applies the brake here, the liquid flows to all the wheels, and due to pressure of that liquid, the pressure of the brake oil, it pushes this rim with this brake shoe. Okay, so when this brake shoe and this rim, when they gets attached, so the vehicle retards or it stops, right? So you see, when the driver releases his foot, again the liquid comes back, and there is a spring connected in the brake shoe. So the brake shoe and this brake shoe and this rim, again it gets separated. So likewise the vehicle comes in the normal condition. Okay, so this also based upon Pascal's law. So this was the fifth law, liquid finds its own level. So this is the definition of the Pascal's law. The pressure exerted on a confined liquid is transmitted equally and undiminished in all directions throughout the mass of the liquid. So when a pressure is being applied in one end, it gets transmitted equally in all directions. You see, so holes are made in this cylinder. You can see same pressure comes out from all the direction, right? So pressure is applied in one end, but it is getting transmitted all in all direction equally. Atmospheric pressure. The pressure exerted by atmosphere on the surface of earth is called atmospheric pressure. That is 1 lakh Newton per meter square, or you can say 1 lakh Pascal. So this pressure is exerted on the surface of the earth. The question arises, why we don't feel this atmospheric pressure? So we don't feel this atmospheric pressure because we do have a blood pressure in us. So our blood pressure matches with this atmospheric pressure. But when we go in the higher altitudes, so where the atmospheric pressure is less, so we starts bleeding. That means our nose vessels, our blood vessels, this starts bleeding, right? So when there is mismatch of the pressure, so that means when our body pressure is more than the atmospheric pressure, then also it is problem. And similarly, when we go inside the water where the liquid pressure is more than that of our blood pressure, then also we feel suffocation. So these are the consequences of atmospheric pressure. So you need to write this in exercise book also. So what are the consequences? What is the result of atmospheric pressure? So due to atmospheric pressure at high altitude, our nose starts bleeding, you see, right? The cabins of passenger aircrafts are pressurized and the pressure within them are maintained to equal the ground. Now you see in an aeroplane, we see in a flight, when the flight is in air, so due to it is in high altitude, still the passenger don't feel any difference. So the reason behind is that the pressure is maintained in the aircraft same as that of ground level. So if any doors or even any windows, if it is open in that high altitude, then definitely they will face problem. But air is pressurized according to the ground level. So astronauts, they go into the space or satellites and wear special space suit, right? Similarly, the swimmers also, we have seen that they use a special suit. So here astronauts also, they use a special suit. Next, when we drink lemonade or soft drink through a straw, our lungs expand and the air in the drinking straw passes into them, creating a partial vacuum in the straw. The atmospheric pressure acting on the surface of the liquid forces the liquid to move up the straw. So actually what it is saying, let us consider this is a glass, okay, and this glass is containing few liquids, right? So when this glass is containing this liquid and a straw is placed here, when a straw is placed here, so when the liquid is being sucked from here, from this end, right, so all the air passes into our lungs. That means the air inside this straw is empty. So as there is no air inside the straw, so pressure inside the straw is zero. So now due to atmospheric pressure, this pressure pushes the liquid level, okay, and the liquid level falls here in the glass and liquid climbs up in the straw. Okay, so I repeat what is going on here. So let us consider a glass is containing water. Now a straw is placed inside the liquid. So when this straw is placed inside the liquid and it is sucked from one end, so the air in the straw vanishes, means air decreases. Now as there is no presence of air in the straw, so atmospheric pressure in the straw is less, and due to atmospheric pressure the liquid level falls and it rises in the straw. So due to atmospheric pressure, the water is, or the liquid or the soft drink is rising in the straw or in the pipe, right? So this is also one of the effect or consequence of atmospheric pressure. So we do not feel pressure of air as our blood pressure is slightly greater than atmospheric pressure. This one already I have explained just now. Simple barometer. Barometer is an instrument which is used to measure the atmospheric pressure, and it is designed by Torricelli in 1643. So this you can see this is a simple barometer. So first of all, there is one tube. So in that tube a liquid is contained. So when this liquid is contained in here and it is being dipped in a trough, this is a trough containing mercury. So when we dipped here, we find that liquid level is 76 centimeter and a vapor or vacuum is created on the top of the mercury, that is called Torricellian vacuum. So it is based upon the name of the scientist who has invented it, that is Torricelli. So it is called Torricellian vacuum. Now there is a disadvantage, is that we cannot use this simple barometer everywhere, because there will be a problem in the setup. Like when the tube is filled with mercury, and as soon as we invert it, there is a chance of getting impurity, that is the mercury mixing with air or vapor, right? Now if any vapor is created here in that Torricellian vacuum, that vapor will exert pressure on the mercury and the mercury will not show any correct reading. So this correct reading, there will be a fault in that mercury. So this is also called faulty barometer. Okay, so faulty barometer is caused, or it is due to the pressure exerted by the vapor on the top of the mercury in the test tube. Right, now how does this work? How does this simple barometer work? Now when it is at ground level, it shows 76 centimeter, but as soon as when it is placed in a certain place where atmospheric pressure is more, so what happens, this atmospheric pressure is more, that means pressure will be exerted on the trough. So due to that pressure, the liquid will rise up in the test tube, that means height will increase. So this height will increase, so we can say the atmospheric pressure is more outside. Similarly, if we place this setup in a certain place where the atmospheric pressure is less, then what will happen, this liquid on the trough, it will rise, that means this will fall down, right? So liquid fall down and it will fill the trough. Now if this height is decreasing, so we say that atmospheric pressure is less, and if this height is increasing, we say the atmospheric pressure is more. So that means it depends upon this height. So Torricellian vacuum, so you see whatever may be the tilted position of the barometer, so the liquid remains same, that means liquid seeks its own level. So pressure on a mercury column is, that is 76 centimeter Hg column. Okay, the barometric height at the normal temperature and the pressure at the sea level is 76 centimeter or 760 millimeter of the mercury. So this is a very good question. It is being generally being asked, what is the height at which the pressure is normal? So we can consider as 76 centimeter or 760 millimeter of mercury. So this was the faulty barometer, which already I have explained. You see what is faulty barometer? So we'll get the answer from here, from this paragraph. Okay, so due to formation of vacuum above the mercury, the vacuum or the vapor pressurizes the mercury level down, and it does not give an accurate result or accurate reading of the barometer. So this type of barometer is called faulty barometer. Okay, so pressure due to vapor, that is true atmospheric pressure minus barometric pressure. So this is the formula. Next we have Fortis barometer. So due to few disadvantages of the simple barometer, so there is been development of this Fortis barometer. So this Fortis barometer is consist of 1 meter glass tube, and this glass tube is fitted with a brass tube also, right? In this brass tube, how does it work? You see, this tube is filled with the mercury and it is placed in a glass vessel of a leather bag. Okay, glass vessel. First it is placed in the leather bag, then in the glass vessel. Now here you see, this is the liquid level, this is the vernier scale, and this screw is adjusted in such a way that the lower tip fills with, if this is the tube and this is the mercury, so the screw should be here. That means it is touching the tube. That means ivory, we call it as ivory. So ivory will touch the tip of the mercury, till then the screw is adjusted. Now when there will be a difference, in this atmospheric pressure, so then we have to adjust this screw, and this screw position will be measuring by this vernier caliper. Okay, so this vernier caliper finds the position of the screw, it measures the position of the screw, and the screw is being adjusted in such a way that it touches the tip of the mercury. So likewise we use this Fortis barometer. So there is a disadvantage of using this Fortis barometer, because it requires a pre-arrangement in installation. So there is an arrangement problem, so there is a setup problem of this instrument. Though it is portable from one place to another, but whereas the simple barometer was not portable, so this is the advantage over. So Fortis barometer advantage over simple barometer is that it is portable, but simple barometer we cannot carry one place to another. Okay, but here still Fortis barometer, it is being seen that initial arrangement is required, which was very difficult. So after this, what is made? So this was the Fortis barometer. You can draw this diagram also. Okay, so after this, what is made? Aneroid barometer. So aneroid barometer came into existence here. So in aneroid barometer, you see there is a diaphragm D. This is a diaphragm. Diaphragm means it is a box, and box is fitted with some lever on rod, right? This rod. Now when the atmospheric pressure is more, so this rod will press the box. Now this box means, you see this one, so box will get squeezed. So when the box will get squeezed, the rod will come down, the rod will depress down. As the rod will move down, so you see the tip of the rod is connected with the wheel, so the wheel get rotated, and further wheel is connected with the rotor. So this will show different pointers, so this will give the reading on the circular scale. Okay, so I repeat, when there is a huge pressure, so due to huge pressure, the rod will depress the diaphragm, and as the diaphragm will get depressed, so it will move the wheel, and due to movement of the wheel, there will be movement in the pointer. So likewise it will show different reading of atmospheric pressure, right? So you see, you can write this working also. Okay, of aneroid barometer, how does it work? So you see, this how this atmospheric pressure depends upon altitude. So more will be the height. You see, height is plotted in x-axis and pressure is plotted in y-axis. So more will be the height, so less will be the atmospheric pressure. So this is how it depends. Now here I have given few notes. What are the advantages of mercury over a barometric liquid? So these points you need to write in your exercise book. So why we use mercury in a barometer? Why don't we use water? So this is the reason, because the density of mercury is high. So the vapor pressure of mercury is negligible, it does not produce any vapor. So mercury neither wets, does not stick with the glass tube. The surface of mercury is shining and opaque, therefore it is easily seen. So it can be obtained in the pure state. So these are the few advantages of mercury as a barometric liquid. So why we don't use water as a barometric liquid, that reason is also given here. So 4 reasons are there. This you need to write in your exercise book. Right. So what is an altimeter? Altimeter is a device which is used in aircraft to measure the height or altitude of an object. So generally it is being placed on the choppers or on the aircrafts to measure the height, at what altitude it is flying. Okay, so the exercise questions are left. This exercise question start writing from now, so because the questions will be set out from the exercises only. So prepare the exercise questions. If you don't get any answer, you personally will text me in my WhatsApp. I will help you to find those answers. And the numerical questions, I will be making one more video where I will explain the numericals. Right. So till then, you complete all the exercise questions of this chapter. Thank you.